Hello again, everybody out there in YouTube land. I just did my Oblivion review, so I'm going straight into my little rant here on another science fiction movie that sort of came out called After Earth. This is a Jaden Smith-Will Smith sort of collaboration. It looks like it was also directed by M. Night Shyamalan, and written by, the story was by Will Smith. So, perhaps not the best, and a couple of the Pinketts and the Smiths also produced it. Caleb Pinkett and Jada Pinkett Smith. So perhaps not the best group of writers and such. M. Night Shyamalan is consistently given a hard time as a director. I've liked a few of his movies. Jaden Smith, I haven't really seen enough of his work, to decide if I really like him as an actor or not. To me, Will Smith is this rapper. I'm from the Fresh Prince days, I guess. But, I guess he kind of gave that up and he's an actor. Or he's been an actor for a long time. Let's click on him here. It says, Willard Carroll Will Smith Jr. is an American actor, producer, and rapper. So, he's listed as an actor first. So I guess he's an actor. Now, I will say, looking here, that this movie got just horrible reviews. 11% on Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, like, horrible reviews. However, I would say that it is a box office success. It was a $130 million movie, and it's made $243 million back. So, getting close to doubling its cost, which is always good. This would be a good point to also bring up the dreaded soap opera effect that plagues, I guess is a good word, that plagues many modern HD TVs. The TV we have here at the house is a Samsung, and its soap opera effect is just out of control. And essentially what that does is make it look like you're part of the thing. It does stuff with the motion, and one thing it does that I don't tend to like is it almost completely ruins that really cool looking movie lighting. All the soft sort of mid-tone movie lighting is just done away with, and it literally makes it look very natural. Now, I think what's happened recently is a lot of people are realizing that a lot of directors and writers and such and producers are realizing that people are going to be watching these movies with this on. So they're trying to light their movies with that in consideration a little bit more. So there's like this midpoint now where it sort of still looks weird, but not too bad. And I would say that this movie, After Earth, looked really, really good, even with the soap opera effect on. Now, I haven't watched anything on the TV out there without it because it's not my TV. I just don't want to go turning it off. People who own the TV tend to like that effect, so it stays on. But I'm still kind of tempted to turn it off sometimes. For example, in Iron Man or in Justice League, it made, not Justice League, the Avengers, it made Captain America just look completely ridiculous. He looks exactly like he'd probably look if you saw him face to face. The the movie lighting does a lot to make his uniform look a little more cool. So this movie really handled all that well. I didn't really think it was that bad a movie, actually. I sort of thought that After Earth was okay. It's not quite as beautiful as Oblivion, but it looks good. The location that they shot on is really nice. They shot it in like South America or Hawaii or something. It looks really, really nice. The story is no more or less predictable than anything else out there. Will Smith didn't really have a very big part in the movie, per se. It was kind of his son's movie, and I don't know. I would have liked to have seen Will do a little bit more. Because I think he's an okay actor. I mean, he's not one of my favorites. I don't rush out to see his movies or anything. But, he can act. I guess that's sort of where I felt let down by this movie, was that kind of stuff. Just not really being thought out very well in that regard. Excuse me. I just don't. And the other thing was, it had a lot of CG in it. I know CG was getting really, really popular there for a while in like kind of the late 90s, the early 2000s, and then kind of when the Underworld movies sort of came out, they started using practical effects again. People were like, well, it's a guy in a suit, but at least he's there. And the way they're shooting it kind of makes it seem less hokey, or less like a guy in a suit. Or the suit's just really good if we're talking about something else. So practical effects have come back into play, but other than scenery and kind of the ship set that they were on, I mean, I think the city that they were in was almost completely computer generated. It was just very CG noisy. There was a lot of CG. Now, maybe Oblivion had some CG in it, but it was used well with the practical effects. And I don't know, just After Earth, you could just, it's like that CG, that's so CG, I could just tell. It's it just wasn't implemented the best. So I can kind of see that. Why don't we look here real quick and see? Rotten. Based on 177 reviews with the consensus, After Earth is a dull, ploddingly paced exercise in sentimental sci-fi and the latest setback for director M. Night S. His once promising career. Generally unfavorable on Metacritic. The film still earned a B-grade cinema score surveyed from the general audience on opening day. Under cinema score, a C grade is the equivalent of a failing grade, and a B grade signals general satisfaction. Is After Earth the worst movie ever made? They asked this one critic, Joe Morgenstern. He's a film critic for the Wall Street Journal. Is After Earth the worst movie ever made? His answer was, maybe not. There's always Battlefield Earth to remind us how low the bar can go. Now, Battlefield Earth was bad. But, it's kind of getting there in some ways. It did have some use of central themes in Scientology. Um, they call it a vanity project. I guess I could kind of see all this stuff. Uh, and they mentioned the the look that Jaden Smith has on his face the whole movie. His acting talent wasn't very good in this movie. So I guess I see where they're coming from, but it was kind of neat in some ways. There were a couple of neat points in it. So I guess it works out like this. Don't go rent this thing. I mean, don't go to a red or blue box or whatever and rent the sucker, because you're going to be like, well, I sort of wish I hadn't paid whatever I paid for that. But if it's on TV, just kind of, turn your brain off and watch this kid sort of go through a bunch of misadventures on this planet, on Earth, that, is doing better after we haven't been on it for 1,000 years. It looks like. So, I really wish I had more to say about it. I really do, but there just isn't a whole lot to say about the movie. There's not a whole lot going on in it, other than this kid has to get to this certain spot so he can get he and his dad home. Again, it's kind of a beat this baddie to the flag sort of movie. But yeah, if you can go see it at someone else's place or procure it some other way or what have you, go ahead and do that. Definitely, I wouldn't even waste $1 to go see it at the dollar movies, unless it was the only thing there that seemed interesting in any kind of way. Is how I'd put it. So yeah, that's 2 minutes shorter than the Oblivion review. Anyway, not much to say. Night, YouTube. Have a good one.